Starting this edition with some breaking news now coming in. This is after over 250 bomb threats have been received in the last few weeks. The IT ministry, in fact, has now issued some guidelines. And the guideline says that including social media intermediaries have a due diligence obligation under the Information Technology Act and the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021 to promptly remove such misinformation that affects public order and security of the state. Remember, that's a guideline. This after you've had multiple meetings that the Ministry of Civil Aviation has had with the airlines, and in fact you've also had social media platforms like Meta as well as X being pulled up by the ministry in the manner they have dealt with some of these threats that were coming in. We'll try and see if we can go across to my colleague Harsha for joining us on this broadcast. But before that, let me bring in my colleague Suesha, who's joining us from the newsroom. Suesha, that's the breaking news now coming in with regards to the multiple bomb threats that were received in the last few days. In fact, it has almost touched 300 threats that were allegedly received by the airlines. What is it that the ministry has to say?
Oh yes, absolutely, Shravan, and which is very important because people have been waiting for a strong response and answers to the hoax bomb threats menace that has been on the rise. And we understand in the last 11 days there have been more than 250 such threats that have been issued. Now, first let me take you through the document that Republic has received on what action is the Ministry of Electronics and IT now taking in this regard. So primarily they've put the onus not just on social media platforms but for every user also to ensure that such information does not see an expanse or more shares or there is any sort of disinformation that is multiplying on social media. So this document that primarily states that there have been several instances of malicious acts in the form of hoax bomb threats. In this regard, it must be noted that including social media intermediaries, it is even the users who have to take due diligence, and they should not share such threats or such hoax information. And they should not host, display, upload, modify, publish, transmit, update, or even share any unlawful or false information. So that is one thing that is for users like you and I. Also for social media platforms, it is a big responsibility now because the Ministry of Electronics and IT have said that they will hold social media platforms also responsible if they don't help with the misspread of such information, because they've gone on to say that social media platforms must make necessary arrangements that hoax bomb threats should not be disseminated from their platforms. In this regard, they must observe due diligence and prompt removal or disabling access to such unlawful information specified under the IT Rules 2021, including hoax bomb threats, well within the strict timelines as prescribed. In fact, this document that also states that disabling access to such misinformation under the IT Rules 2021, where reasonable efforts must be undertaken, that additional liability mandatorily report certain offences perceived to be committed by any user of their platform, that they will take timely action against such users. In fact, it also states that these rules obligate the intermediaries to provide information under its control or possession or assistance to the government agency which is lawfully authorized for investigation or protecting cyber security activities for the purposes of verification of identity. So primarily, like we understand, Shravan, that these hoax bomb threats have been on the rise. The ministry or even the investigative agencies have not really been able to nip it in the bud. They've not been able to get to the bottom of where this is emanating from. But they're putting the onus both on social media users and social media platforms, most importantly, to ensure that action is taken against such users who put out such information, and users on social media should not repost such information.
Is that really enough to basically solve the issue? More on this, I'm also joined by my colleague Harsha, who's been tracking the Civil Aviation Ministry very closely. Harsha, is this really enough, given the fact that we still do not know who is really behind these threats? And we're not talking about one threat, we're talking about 300 threats that have been received in the last few days. So what exactly has the government really done about it?
So, Shravan, we can say that it's really not enough, but we can say with this advisory that actually it's a Republic Newsbreak impact. If you remember, Shravan, 2 days back we broke this news that how government agencies and the MHA pulled up, and the Mighty Ministry also pulled up X and other social media platforms over the IDs from which these bomb threat messages were posted on social media. And today there's a whole advisory from the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology where they clearly state that under the IT rule of 2021 and the IT Act 79, if the social media intermediaries will not observe the due diligence and will not inform the ministry and the department, law enforcement agency or the government regarding any information of the bomb threat, and if they will not immediately take down such bomb threats, which is creating a lot of panic amongst the public, which is a matter of serious concern, which is also impacting the commercial aspects of the airline, then the lawful action will be taken against them under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sahita Law 2023. So it clearly states that there's a first step where government has clearly issued an advisory. Before this, Shravan, we have not seen any advisory from the government, neither from Ministry of Civil Aviation, neither from MHA, or neither from the Mighty Ministry. There's the first time that the advisory on the bomb hoax messages have been sent in public domain, where they are clearly pulling up the social media intermediaries. In fact, they are stating that not only social media intermediaries, even in those platforms, if a third party is reposting it, then also it's a matter of grave concern and the lawful action will be taken against them. Till now, Shravan, more than 300 flights have received different bomb threats and different route, and this includes all the airline, be it Air India, Vistara, Indigo, Alliance Air and SpiceJet and Indigo. But yes, this is the first step towards the seriousness of the government, that yes, something concrete government agencies are doing. The counter-terror division and the cyber expert team of the government is looking into it seriously. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Harsha, as well as Suesha, for getting us the latest details. This perhaps is the first official statement that has come in from the ministry after multiple threats were allegedly received by multiple airline carriers in India.